Well, good evening and great night, Sigma race fans, as we come at you live. Here from Homestead for the Sigma Bridge to Cup Series. This is race number 10 on the calendar, and 20 races left in the season for these drivers. Starting on the front row, you've got Cooper Dwight and Willow Blake. We're going to get into a hurry-up mode here and get the race started a little bit earlier, so no starting lineup. Just get rolling right into the race. 150 laps here tonight at Homestead. Part of the Palm Tree Perfect 225. The rest of the field up there in the top 5, you've got Alan Malcolm, Eli the Wolf, and Jimmy Logano. Your current points leader, Carson Bauers, starting in about 6th there. Or rather 7th, alongside Bradley Ream. Then you've got Rich Roy and Trevor Vaden rounding out your top 10. The pace car is off, and we're going to get rolling here for 150 laps around Homestead. It's always a very fast-paced race here, and tonight's race will probably blitz by in about an hour and a half, maybe even less. Cooper Dwight gets the early lead there as Willow Blake struggling on the start of the race here. Alan Malcolm dipping down low, trying to make a move for the lead with a good drafting partner in Jimmy Logano. They make it 3 wide for the lead as Jimmy Logano cut the bait a little too quickly there, and I think the 41's going to drive around on the outside. Ooh, not so quickly though, as Jimmy Logano now has the advantage here. Cooper Dwight unfortunately gets stuck up there and nothing he can do to fix it. Willow Blake recovered pretty quickly there. She's sitting in 4th. Now making a move up to 3rd here. She's duking it out with the points leader. Those two sit 1 and 2 in the points. Ooh, 4 wide. Cooper Dwight on the outside of that 4 wide. This could get hairy. Cooper Dwight still dropping backwards like a rock here. 4x4. He keeps getting stuck in the 4 wide. Scenarios there, and it keeps it going. Doesn't get caught up in a wreck, luckily. And there we got Willow Blake now making a move for the lead as she's trying to take it to Jimmy Logano here. Carson Bauers right there behind her. Alan Malcolm not letting go either. Front of the field kind of getting singled out here as you've got Jimmy Logano, Willow Blake, Alan Malcolm, Carson Bauers, and now Jonah Burridge up to 5th. The rest of the field kind of lagging a little bit behind there as you've got Rich Roy, Cannon Gage, Matthew Hubert, Jack Davis, James Gunner, Tim Corning, and Alex Crowther. But everyone's hunting down Jimmy Logano right now. And fastest lap belongs to Carson Bauers, who is running in 4th there. Currently, as the points set right now, Carson Bauers has a 49-point lead over Willow Blake. So Willow Blake gonna have to knock out quite a few races like this on Carson Bauers to get past him. Jimmy Logano dominantly holding the front of the field right now for the first 10 laps of the race. And Alan Malcolm making a move on the inside there of Willow Blake for 2nd. Willow Blake not giving an inch as she's going to try to fight back on the outside there. Unfortunately, the 19 was too much to handle as Malcolm gets by Blake for 2nd. For those of you that are tuning in, we have been playing catch-up this week to try and get caught up back on schedule. We missed about a week worth last week with things out of my control, and that's why we have such a hearty schedule this week, including a doubleheader on Sunday with ARCA and Cup. Ooh, Jonah Burridge making a move there on the 12 of Carson Bauers. So yeah, this Bridge to Cup race that was supposed to happen last week, we're on catch-up mode and getting it run so that we can run what should have been yesterday's race tomorrow. And then trucks and Bridge to Cup will be all caught back up on schedule, and the schedule that is on the server will be accurate again. And then the only other ones we'll have to wait for is ARCA on Sunday and Cup on Sunday to get truly caught back up on schedule, where it'll be Monday's recording of truck, and then a double header on Tuesday with the truck re-air and Bridge to Cup, followed by recording of the ARCA races on Wednesdays, and a double header of ARCA re-air on Thursday, with the Cup live stream on Thursday as well. It works all right. It works almost better that way. Not all of them are live streams that are, you got to tune in and watch them right at midnight like it is right now on the East Coast. That was my goal, was to try and give at least the East Coasters a chance to watch something live during the day, middle of the day. And in order to do that, I've got to record the night before and premiere the next day, sometime in the afternoon or morning. Rich Roy starting to close in on the top 5 here. As you see Jonah Burge getting passed on the inside by the 29. 12 of Carson Bauers settles into 4th for now. But is he going to be able to hold it? No cautions, no craziness. We've made it 21 laps in with no cautions. Willow Blake looking down on the inside of Alan Malcolm here for 2nd. Doesn't get to execute, but was maybe thinking about it, trying to figure out a move to make on the 19 in front of her. And here we have a battle for the lead as Alan Malcolm dips down low on the 28 of Jimmy Logano. Logano on the outside, holding fierce though, keeps the position away from the 19. That's going to open the door for Willow Blake as she's making one hell of a charge down on the inside. 19 not able to defend it nearly. It was kind of a surprise when the 0-2 bounced down there. And Malcolm having to pay the price, it looks like, to lose that position. You know, Willow washes out there a little bit, but so did the 19 of Malcolm as they continue to drag race side by side, now down the backstretch. Willow's got just a nose over the 19, and it looks like she's going to have about a car length now as she's able to close the door and take over 2nd place. Wow. Pardon me. Willow fighting for the lead there on Jimmy Logano. Kind of took me by surprise. Had me choked up there for a minute. Willow, side by side now, dashing to the lead. Taking it away from Jimmy Logano, who's dominantly led for about the last 25 laps. Willow Blake takes the lead, and Carson Bauers follows in suit right behind her. Now Carson Bauers flirting with the lead that Willow Blake just took away from the 28. Jimmy Logano fighting back on Carson Bauers there for second. Looks like Cannon Gage up to fourth. And even Jonah Burge still holding on solidly at the top 5. You know, best case scenario here for Willow Blake is if she ends up front like this and has a great night and Carson Bauers starts to fall backwards. Bauers could end up giving a lot of points in favor to Willow Blake, who is trying to knock away at that points lead, sitting second overall. Jimmy Logano there could definitely play spoiler, as he's already up front and has led about 25 laps. Willow Blake was able to get by him though, and she's holding her own right now, leading the way. Oh, and there we go. Jimmy Logano taking the lead back away from Willow Blake here on lap 41. Willow Blake led about 15 laps there. Not half bad, getting some lead lap points to her name. But now Jimmy Logano wants to try go out there and get as many laps led to lock up lead most lap point bonus here today. Cannon Gage up to second now. A couple of these drivers in the top 5 seeking their first ever Bridge to Cup win. Cannon Gage would be one of those drivers, Willow Blake another, and Alan Malcolm. Those 3 in the top 6 have yet to win in Bridge to Cup action. Jimmy Logano, of course, has already won, and he actually won earlier this year at the season opener from Armory Digital Superspeedway. So he's already been off to a stellar start here in 2025, but has been somewhat of a checkers or wreckers, kind of like Kyle Larson in a way. You know, goes out there, leads all the laps, might win a race, might lose a race on the wrecker. And tonight, maybe trying to lean in the other direction from the wrecker with a win. Still 106 laps to go. Long race left to go here tonight. Anything could happen. We're going to definitely see a round of pit stops, whether it's under caution or during green flag racing. As we have seen so far, no cautions, all green flag racing. And let's jump to the back of the field here and see how far away Jimmy Logano is from lap traffic. He's still a distance away from any lap traffic, luckily, so not likely for them to factor in. He's on the exit of turn 2. They're on the entrance of turn 1. Man, it's actually a lot tighter. They're still running pretty competitive laps at the back of the field. It goes to show you that this Bridge to Cup series really does have the best of the best not yet to make it to Cup. And the only tough part for a lot of these drivers is you're out there in a field with 34 drivers. That means someone's going to have to finish 34th, someone's going to have to finish 17th, and someone's going to have to finish 5th. You know, all that factors in. So someone's going to have a great night, someone's going to have a bad night, and that's what we're seeing here at the back half of the field. A lot of these drivers capable of fighting for wins, but just not here tonight at Homestead. We do have a couple race winners at the back end of the field. Roach saw victory last year for Jacob Shangle Racing, now racing for Railfan Motorsports, team owned by the Bridge to Cup champion from last year, Bradley Ream. So 2024 Bridge to Cup champion team owner has this number 6, and also as we skim through, I'll point out who his other team car is. Wyatt Wilkinson is your defending ARCA champion from 2024. Made the step up the ladder here into Bridge to Cup, and it's been a bit of a struggle for that 16 team. Yeah, there is a good wrench scheme out there, actually. I skimmed through it already. The 46 there of Gannonbird. Team owner, driver, TSI Motorsports there, number 46 good wrench Cadillac. So it's a special one there. You got the 46 Cadillac good wrench. Fashioned a lot after Kevin Harvick's number 29, even with the font style there. But getting back to what I was talking about, Wyatt Wilkinson is yet to find success here in Bridge to Cup after having a stellar ARCA campaign last year. It was him and Willow Blake, a rivalry that had budded all the way back at the beginning of 2024 in ARCA. And that rivalry is still pretty well heated here today, but unfortunately in Bridge to Cup for Wyatt Wilkinson, the battles tend to lean more towards Willow Blake week in and week out. Trevor Vaden, a race winner in his own. We've seen him win many truck races. I want to say he's won at least a couple times in Bridge to Cup. Actually, I'm mistaken. He hasn't been in Bridge to Cup up until this year, so he's winless in Bridge to Cup, just as Wyatt Wilkinson and Willow Blake are, being fresh blood in the series. There is the other Railfan Motorsports entry, the number 40 of Alex Sanvital. We have seen Alex Sanvital being a very highly touted prospect in the Sigma Racing Series, as they went on to win a bunch of truck races in the closing schedule of 2024. And that drew the attention of a couple different team owners, as Alex Sanvital actually drives for 3 different teams this year, between Railfan Motorsports, and in the trucks he drives for Trevor Ventures, and even sporting a ARCA car for select races for TSI Motorsports. So definitely a jack of all trades, as Alex Sanvital having a decent night here, running in the top 10, flirting with the top 5. And we're back up to the front again with Willow Blake running in 4th, Carson Bauers 3rd, Cannon Gage in that number 5 Cadillac running 2nd to Jimmy Logano. For those of you that do know who Jimmy Logano is, obviously he doesn't need any introduction. But for those of you that might not know who he is the 10-time racing champion, seeking his 11th championship. And it all comes down to Jimmy Johnson, Joey Logano, kind of a fusion of the two of them. So 7 championships from Jimmy Johnson and 3 championships from Joey Logano. What do you get when you mix those two together? Well, none other than Jimmy Logano, who's a 10-time champion, racing in the Sigma Series. This is his first full season, and legends is already being created with that 28 driver, as his first ever start in Sigma competition was a win. That doesn't happen very often for many people that join the series, and especially for him. He didn't start in ARCA, he didn't start in trucks. He started right here in Bridge to Cup, which is none other than our Xfinity style series, the step up the ladder before Cup. And to show up and win in your series debut, very impressive. He went out and won Pocono and had kind of a rough rest of the season last year. But when it came down to it this year already, showed up and showed down to get his first win of 2025, making his 2nd career win here in Sigma competition. A lot of Vegas odds have him favored to go the distance here in 2025 and fight for that championship. But with our Bridge to Cup series, it is kind of a wild card as to how the championship plays out. If you think about something on the lines of March Madness, where we have brackets and stuff like that, well, that's what we've got with Bridge to Cup. It's pretty wild and crazy. It was a concept I dreamt up, and I thought it'd be fun and exciting and give kind of that overall wild card factor, whereas each race during the Madness at the end of the season makes a big difference, because you're going to be head-to-head against other drivers that are in the championship bracket. And that bracket championship, once you have, there are 5 races before the finale, and whoever has a winning record, similar to like baseball, if you have a 3-2 record, obviously you have a winning record, or you're above 500. That's what our bracket championship looks for with these head-to-head matchups. So just for example, later on at the season when we go to Meridian for the Idaho 208 by Pro Dealers, that would be the first race in the bracket challenge. And we call it August Aggro, kind of like March Madness. Yeah, it's a shameful copycat of March Madness, but we go with August Agro, and it's all 5 races are in August, so the heat of the summer determines who is going to be fighting for that championship at the end of the season when we go to the moon. Yes, we go to Mars Super Speedway. It's a restrictor plate track from none other than space. So, talk about a crapshoot. Once they determine that, then we're going to decide the champion at a super speedway. Didn't get any more crazier than that. Now, some might argue, is that a valid way to crown a champion that's making the move up the ladder into Cup? Well, probably not. I'd agree with a lot of people that suggest it's way too much of a wild card to actually crown the correct champion on a season. But Bridge to Cup has always been kind of my experimental series where I like to break the norm and test some things that may work and maybe don't work. And last year it was kind of interesting. Ultimately led to Bradley Ream winning the championship. So if you think about it, gives everyone a fair shake at the end of the season for an opportunity to take that championship, whereas they might not have had a fair shake at the beginning of the season. Well, after green flag pit stops here on lap 66, that means we're going to have at least one more round of pit stops even after that. With 84 laps to go, they were not able to make it to halfway, so Jimmy Logano has a sizable lead right now after these green flag pit stops. And the rest of the field might need a little help with some cautions here to get back in the fold. It really looks like Carson Bauers might be second in line there, but very, very far back from your leader. But it is Jimmy Logano who's going to have that lead back. Ooh, maybe not too quick. We'll see how the 5 shakes out here. Shakes out behind Jimmy Logano, but not a bad pit stop. Keeps him within the top 10, it looks like. As they come across the start-finish line for lap 68, it has rotated back around to Jimmy Logano being your leader, making Carson Bauers second, Krista Cower third, James Gunner fourth, Willow Blake fifth. Thank you for bringing that up too, Finley, on the ARCA race this Sunday. I wanted to highlight, since I haven't really stated on the server yet, but the ARCA race is going to come down to heat races to start the night. So the field is far too big for the amount of space that the track provides for pit stalls. So Thunder Hill Raceway, we're going to have a 20-lap heat, a 30-lap heat, and a 100-lap main event. Still not quite sure the lineups yet. I was going to work on that tonight and get some of the ARCA who's on heat 1, who's on heat 2, and really go from there as to how we're going to set up the lineup for this Sunday ARCA race. Kind of one of the reasons why it got pushed to Sunday is it's going to require a little bit more prep time with the heat races to determine how we get the main event. It's going to be the first of its kind for this season, as all the other tracks we've been to in 2025 so far had enough pit stalls to make it so you could run everyone out there without doing heat races. We do have a couple more occasions on the schedule, such as Wiscasset, the Main Madness 165, which is a 45 pair of heats plus a 120 lap main. Five Flags, Berlin Raceway, the Chili Bowl. We're going to go racing on the dirt with the ARCA cars. Those are all heat race events, and that's kind of in the midst of the summer too, during the June stretch, where we have the 5th, 6th, 12th, and the 19th for races on the schedule. And then towards the end of the season, we do go to Langley, which will be a pair of heat races. Actually, some of them might only be one heat race, as the main field will pretty much have about 10 to 15 cars locked in. We'll run one qualifier race to determine who the rest of the field is to fill it in. So, and Meridian, that's another one that we're going to have some heat racing action. So just to keep your keep on your calendar that we will see some more heat races. This will be the first of its kind in 2025, and I'm hoping for it to be an exciting race from a new track that we have not yet really gotten any data on, so should be good. Willow Blake going down on the inside here of Carson Bauers. Jimmy Logano still leading, but I do feel like the 12 and the 02 have got fresher tires here and should be able to run down the 28 of Jimmy Logano. "75 laps in, 75 laps to go. We are truly at halfway now. Well, Jimmy Logano definitely sneaking up the show here, but Willow Blake putting on a show, catching up to him here. Might we see another similar trend here where Willow Blake takes the lead away and holds that lead away from the 28? It looks like we might have at least a portion of that coming true here as Willow Blake gets alongside the 28. What trend I'm talking about, though, is the fact that Willow Blake took the lead earlier from Jimmy Logano, used up her stuff, and then got passed back by Jimmy Logano midway through the run. So could she be running the same routine here just as Jimmy Logano is? Looks like Jimmy Logano is going to lose a lot more spots this time, though. That didn't happen last time as Jimmy Logano stayed in second. He's fallen all the way back to 5th now. Carson Bauers making a move on the inside. James Gunner also on the inside, and Alex Sanvital. Those three are drafting together, teaming up pretty well for 3 different manufacturers. They're going to blow by Willow Blake here, and the lead changes hands once again. And I don't think we're done swapping lead as James Gunner wants a piece of it. Man, we have been witness to some great racing here from Homestead amongst all series of Sigma racing, as we had the Cup Series here, trucks, and now Bridge to Cup, all racing here from Homestead. Not very often that we get 3 of the same series at a racetrack, but this is one of those tracks that that's a big enough race that we have to host it with all of our series. Willow Blake trying to peek down low here on the 12. And it looks like she's going to take the lead back here with a little bit of assertiveness side by side with the 12. And there we go, back to the lead. It is Willow Blake. Carson Bauers slots into second. Jimmy Logano, from leading all those laps, he's got shuffled back to 6th. And all these drivers are definitely going to have to pit at least one more time before the end of the race. Whether or not they get a caution to maybe help them, we know they can go about 68 laps on a run. So if they decided to pit right now, they can make it to the finish. Although that is not the strategy of call for mostly any driver out there wanting to win the race, because you want to stretch it as long as you can on this mid-stint and have the freshest tires to finish it out. If you pitted now, you might get trapped back with lap traffic, and that would pretty much sink the rest of your day. So wait until nearly you went far enough or too far with the tires and the fuel, then make that pit stop. And it'll just come down to who took the undercut, overcut, and best pit stops to win it. And it'll probably come down to about 20 laps to go, where the last round of pit stops will really shine. Well, since we got past halfway here and things have settled down a little bit at the front of the field, we're going to go Sigma side by side. But don't go anywhere, folks. That just means the racing is going to go into a smaller screen. Well, so far Willow Blake has led about 25 laps, and that's compared to Jimmy Logano, who's led about 54. If she could still lead all the way to the finish here, she could still wrap up led most laps in that number 02 car. But she's going to have to keep the lead and avoid losing it if she wants to get those bonus points here tonight. Those bonus points would reign huge in the championship battle, as she's having to fight against Carson Bauers, your current points leader. He's sitting right there in second behind her. So every point is going to matter. And tonight's a night like this where it really kind of sets up a championship-esque battle for the points that are on the line here. Well, we are getting down to the end of this race as there's only 40 laps left to go. We have not seen a single caution as it's ran caution-free this entire time. Willow Blake's been holding solidly in the lead since the last round of pit stops. And we're going to see some more pit stops here, whether or not we get a caution to help slow the pace down. Green flag pit stops might really shake things up yet again here. This is definitely very impressive from Willow Blake, where we saw her last race at the Cup Series, leading laps and looking stout. She ended up finishing 15th at the Cup race. But tonight, giving herself an opportunity to stay in the fight for the win. As she is dominantly led for this stint, she's up to 45 laps led compared to Jimmy Logano's 58. So if she continues to knock away these lead laps, she could be looking at led most laps here instead of Jimmy Logano. But obviously Jimmy Logano's still in the picture. He could fight his way back up to the front and try to steal this win back. Just all in all, been some great racing here tonight from Homestead. The lead has swapped hands quite a few times at the front of the field. We do have some comers and goers, and really it looks like about a 5-car fight for the win if things stay the way they're going. Willow Blake herself feels like she's been cursed, as she hasn't seen victory since way back at the start of the ARCA campaign last year. looks like the next round of pit stops are going to be coming here with about 27 laps to go. As we look now, Willow Blake has led 55 laps, Jimmy Logano 58, so she's just 3 laps shy of tying Jimmy Logano for most laps led here tonight. And she can go above and beyond that as well. The way she's running, she might just get past 58 and keep on rolling. And there we have it. Undercut for Willow Blake as Jimmy Logano is going to stay out and take the overcut. Last round of pit stops here. This will get everyone to the finish on fresh tires and a full tank of fuel. Who's going to make the most and who's going to have the best pit stops here? We'll keep our eyes on the 0-2 of Willow Blake just since she was your leader. And we'll see how well she fares on pit road here. Well, look at that. Wyatt, or Willow, man, I'm snoozing here on the broadcast booth. I took some NyQuil and I'm almost getting zonked out here. I thought I was going to have more in me here tonight to finish up some stuff. But the NyQuil had other plans in mind. With just 21 laps to go next time by, Willow Blake's looking like she might be your leader here. Willow Blake, your leader. Man, this will be a huge victory for her as she has been pretty much trying to get it for over a year now back to victory lane. It's been a rough patch, and every driver's going to go through a rough patch in their career. And it's how you persevere. It's how you climb out from the gutter. Once you get knocked down, can you get back up? Willow Blake, there's been a lot that's going on in that last 1 year, but she's finally here, making it her own here tonight from Homestead. Going to be down to 19 laps to go. This race has went caution-free since the very beginning, and she's going to have led most laps if she keeps it straight here. Jimmy Logano had a great start to the race, but ultimately did not have the long run pace to match the 0-2 of Willow Blake. Second, it's going to be Alan Malcolm. Third, Alex Sanvital. And Willow Blake is going to end up taking home some very highly coveted points against Carson Bauers, your points leader. So this kind of changes up the whole game for the Bridge to Cup Championship, as she's going to be knocking on the door of the points leader, Carson Bauers. And unfortunately, Jimmy Logano fell way off. Must have had a bad pit stop. Or was this another case of checkers or wreckers? Wow, 32nd. Let us take a gander as to what exactly happened here. He had to make a double trip down pit road. Oh, after his first pit stop, he ended up with a flat tire. Man, how devastating can that be? Sometimes you're the windshield and sometimes you're the bug. And it looked like tonight perhaps Jimmy Logano was the bug on the windshield, as he had to take that car back down and get a fresh tire after getting 4 full tires. Gets a flat, ends his day pretty much. Didn't get wrecked out, but might as well be a wreck. Oh no, we got to fight for the lead as Alan Malcolm is alongside Willow Blake. Alan Malcolm, Willow Blake, man, just as I was trying to write everyone else off, here comes Alan Malcolm from out of nowhere, taking the lead away from Willow Blake with 14 laps left to go. And you got to imagine that Willow Blake has a fire lit under her behind. She didn't want to settle for second. She's had too many second place finishes that she's started to lose count. She wants this win. She wants it now. Alan Malcolm is just a driver standing in the way of victory here tonight, and she's going to have to find her way around it. Here she's got a good run going down the backstretch. She might wait a lap or two. It looks like she's got a good run. She's got the speed. Alan Malcolm not as much with the pace as she is. Here we go. She's really hunting on the back bumper of that 19, waiting for an opportunity to make the move. Heck, Alex Sanvital in third there might be in an all-right spot to fight for this as well, as these three, they're approaching lap car there, the 74 of Moger. Could that play a factor in the finish of this race as well? Now we're down to just 11 laps left here from Homestead Miami. Man, Willow Blake was looking like she was going to get the job done here tonight, but she's going to fight from her behind, fighting from her back. '74 of Moger is going to hold up the 19 just a tad here, as it's going to be 10 laps to go this time by. Willow Blake needs a little bit of luck to fall her way here, I think. She already had the luckiest strike with the 28 getting a flat tire. Jimmy Logano getting knocked out here tonight definitely helped her. And I don't think anyone had that 19 car in the forecast for fighting for the win here. Oh, Willow Blake's going to go on the outside, which is a weird move to make. And it didn't pay off just as I thought it would. She gets stuck behind the 74. And here goes Alex Sanvital to the lead. Ooh, the 07 almost made contact with your leader there. Lap down car of Jonah Burridge. Willow Blake made some bad moves there, and she's ultimately paid the price as she's fallen back to third. 9 laps remain. Still, anything could happen. Looking a little bit more bleak for the 02. Still a great race. You can't walk away here tonight feeling too devastated. Led most laps. had a car capable of getting the win. It just goes to show you that the win it's close by. Somewhere, one of these nights, Willow Blake's going to take it to victory lane. I don't think they're going to catch the rest of the lap traffic there. Some are going to be hoping for a late race caution. Green-white checkers are enabled in case we need them. But it's Alan Malcolm leading Alex Sanvital and Willow Blake. And I'm going to be, I'll be thrown on the spit roast for commentator's jinx yet again, I'm sure. And I'm desperately hoping for a resurge from a certain driver here so that I don't get thrown on the spit roast for the commentator's jinx. As it's just down to 6 laps left in the race. Looks like Willow Blake saving the best for last here. She's trying to run back up to the front and fight with these two for the win. Still not seeing where lap traffic's really going to factor in here in the closing laps. Alan Malcolm's turning 28.5s. All three of them turning a 28.5. It's really going to come down to one of them making a mistake. Perhaps getting a flat tire just like Jimmy Logano did. Alex Sanvital might try to make it interesting here. If the 40 gets side by side with the 19, that could help Willow Blake get back into the mix. These leaders, at least for second and third, are hoping that the lap traffic comes a little quicker as to hold up your leader and give them a shot to pounce. Lap 148 of 150. 3 drivers all within the same window of the time. Lap times there looking very comparable to each other. And I feel like the lap traffic is going to factor into the finish of this one. Who's going to have the right moves to make at the end of the race here? Who's going to make any bonehead mistakes? Alan Malcolm, it's going to come down to one last lap here, and lap traffic will be a factor. The white flag is in the air this time as they come across the front stretch. Is Willow Blake going to have a shot? Is Alex Sanvital going to steal the win after not even really having a race-leading car? Lap traffic's going to be treacherous here on the backstretch, doubled up. The 40 might have a chance. 19 goes low. He's held up now, and the 40 has a choice to make. Go high or go low. Alex Sanvital goes low. Alan Malcolm closes the window on the 40 and gets the win here tonight for the racing department, number 19, Toyota Supra. Another great points night for Willow Blake as she comes in third. Unfortunately for her, the rival in the points battle, Carson Bauers, your points leader, comes home fourth. Anheuser Wagner fifth. Tim Cording, Luis Rodriguez, Alex Crowther, Rich Roy, Adam Starr, James Gunner, Gannon Bird, Wyatt Wilkinson, Matthew Hubert, and Trevor Vaden rounding out your top 15. And for all these Bridge to Cup drivers, they don't have to wait very long for the next race, as tomorrow night they will be on to the second of a doubleheader this week. Once we leave Homestead, we're heading to Nashville for the Southern Comfort 241. But ultimately, congratulations to Alan Malcolm here tonight on getting the job done winning in Bridge to Cup competition. Well, that was one hell of a race with a surprising twist at the end there. I didn't really see Alan Malcolm being a factor, but he shows up and shows down, getting his first win of the Bridge to Cup 2025 campaign. And it's going to make points a little bit more interesting as we've got some more drivers to keep your eyes on this season. Especially Willow Blake, who sits second in the points. She's going to be a factor all year, it looks like. And now throw Alan Malcolm into that mix as well. So well, folks, that's a wrap here for tonight. It has been a long week for me, and I think after that one, I'm just going to go and crash now. For those of you that are waiting for the points, you might have to wait till after tomorrow night with the next Bridge to Cup race. I need to rest and get recovered here for the weekend, which is also going to be busy. But other than that, thanks for signing in and watching, folks. Hopefully you have a great night. Stay safe out there. And until next time, this is Jakester signing out.